Hello people, this is Terrell here for Terrell Game Vlogs. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I sound a little bit better than probably the last time you've heard my voice. And for those who don't know my Vault channel, I have been sick since last Saturday. So it's been about a week. I haven't even gone to the gym. I just felt fucking horrible. Plus the weather is bullshit. So I gave myself a week off. I'm going to start going back to the gym tomorrow. But someone on Twitter asked me this a while ago, and I think around the Christmas time and when they're starting to do, the deals for Christmas and the deals after Christmas, which will probably continue into at least the beginning of January. One of my Twitter followers, and I'll leave a clip of his, I'll find it and I'll probably put it in the video. That's my goal, because I don't remember off the top of my head. Twitter is not that social media. It's probably the least followed of social networks I'm on. I have a Twitter and I use it to kind of do the website updates and the YouTube video updates and the status messages that are connected to Facebook. But other than that, I don't inherently go out of my way unless there's industry panel stuff going on, and then I'll follow the tweets of people that way. Other than that, I'm usually not using Twitter like that. Anyways, that's besides the point. Someone asked me about the 3DS, whether they should get one. Is it still worth it? Do you still have time to get one? Which I didn't understand. I think I understand what he means by the question, but I'm going to explain why that question comes off a little weird to me, because it's to say whether there's a time limit to get a system. I understand it's new console coming. It's kind of like this concept of having would you rather get a 3DS or a 3DS or a DS or a DSi? Well, most people would say 3DS because the 3DS is the newest console. I guess he means time limited in terms of that. In terms of that, we still got time. For those who don't realize, the 3DS is only, 2 years old? And the DS came out back in 2004 or 5, I believe. Let me show you how far we've advanced since the fucking original DS. It's kind of funny because it's not really a fair comparison, because the DS, for those who don't realize, was pretty fucking thick. And, the 3DS I'm holding is the 3DS XL. I don't have the original 3DS because most people tell you the original 3DS didn't have that many games. But this way, when the 3DS came out, it had a severe lack of games for a while, and didn't start getting games until later. But look, this is the original DS. This is the DSi, and I decided to grab the Game Boy Advance SP for the fuck of it. I swear to God, opening this bitch, you can see. This is what we had. This is the original DS. This is what we had, and then compare that to this. See, it's that retro gaming mindset that people don't really like to do that because shit feels archaic. And no offense, this shit feels really. Look at this shit. This is the power button. These screens are tiny as shit. It just feels like we've advanced further than that. But anyways, I'm going to talk about the 3DS and the current games and the games on the system. As you can see, I have Fire Emblem in there right now, and everyone's going to fanboy because motherfucking Fire Emblem is the shit. People are also like, why is the Pokemon in there? Honestly, I'm probably going to switch it out tonight anyway. So anyways, the games I currently have for it: Pokemon Y, obviously, Castlevania, Fire Emblem, obviously, Kid Icarus, Shin Megami Tensei 4, Project X Zone, and Luigi's Mansion. Now, if you notice, Pokemon Y is the latest game I have for it, even though there's a fuck ton of other games. And that's the first thing about the 3DS people need to understand. The 3DS right now is the best-selling system, period. It outsells the Xbox One, it's outselling the PS4, it's outselling the Wii U, the Wii, the 360, the PS3. It's outselling every motherfucking thing. I think in every fucking country. You cannot fuck with the 3DS. And people are thinking, oh, because no. I'll put it this way, and this is kind of the fucked up thing to say, but the 3DS has better third-party support than the fucking Wii U does. I think we're getting a third-person shooter called Ironfall within, I think, sometime next year. Plus that, it just killing it in terms of eShop games and, backward, and, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy games as, virtual, I guess, would it still be Virtual Console, I guess? Games. And then if you look at the third party games, you got Etrian Odyssey, which I think has already come out. Bravely Default, which comes out I think in the next few months. Shin Megami Tensei. I know we have a Persona Q game coming out. Obviously Castlevania, Project X Zone, which is funny because Project X Zone, for those who don't realize, is a sequel to a PSP title. Which if you play that game, you'll know because there's a few characters that are originally from that game. That's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make is, in terms of games, 3DS has it. And it's all different genres. I mean, look at this shit. On-rail shooter, RPG, side-scrolling platformer. I guess you could say 2.5D platformer. Yeah. I'm not totally sure what you would count Luigi's Mansion as, though. And this is like real-time RPG. Not like this is turn-based, this is real-time turn-based in the same logic. There's a lot of different types of games on the 3DS. And it really just depends on what kind of gamer you are. But if you're a fucking RPG fan, you're doing yourself a disservice. Actually, if you're an RPG fan, you should at least own a Nintendo and a Sony console at the very least. One or the other, because they both get it. They both get the RPGs like nobody else's business. You have your, obviously you have your Sonic games like I think Lost World and the 3DS, and then they just recently released a 3D port of the original Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm trying to think of, because the thing is, like, there's a lot of games on there, but it really just depends on what you're into. I mean, we have Phoenix Wright, for God's sakes, which if you're a Phoenix Wright fan, you gotta own a damn DS system, because all the Phoenix Wrights have come out on Nintendo handhelds. If you like Monster Hunter, I know we should be getting another Monster Hunter next year. I think it's already come out in Japan. I think, what is it, Monster Hunter? Well, we have Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which is on the Wii U and the 3DS. And we also have Monster Hunter 4, I think, coming out. And then I think there's like Monster Hunter G. I think are the other two games that we don't have yet, or are in Japan but haven't been released in America yet. Because we know they are, because fuck. Monster Hunter sells really well apparently over here. Well, at least Capcom thought it did. At least the one the Wii U and the 3DS did, because they were like, oh my god, we need to make more money. Also, if you notice, they've been doing a lot of like DLC type shit for it, like the Fire Emblem crossover, the Legend of Zelda crossover, the fucking One Piece crossover. Granted, that's a Japan thing. I really doubt we'll get that DLC. Attack on Titan has a fucking game on the 3DS, which we know that's going to be coming over, considering how well that show's done in general. I think that just recently released in Japan, actually. Hell, and I think we are getting the One Piece Romance Dawn games on... I know we're getting one of them next year. I think there's like two of them. There's like a Romance Dawn, and then there's like Unlimited Red World. I know we're getting one of those. I hope we get both, but the point is 3DS is not in the shortage of games. In terms of features, well, they did recently add in Miiverse, so we do have Miiverse on the system. If you don't know what Miiverse is, it's pretty much like... It's like an online... It's like, take what forums do for the internet, like you have forums in different types of animes and video games and shit. Miiverse is like that, and it has its own little separate forums, and I'll show it to you right here. This camera obviously isn't the best, but the Miiverse icon is something relatively new they added to the 3DS anyway. And you click it here, Miiverse. Now obviously it's signing in my Nintendo Network ID, which is something relatively new. Which I guess is a side note I should bring up about the 3DS, is that the 3DS is still suffering from the issue of it's still using the friend code system like the DS was, and it's still pretty I guess archaic. I mean, friend codes in general are archaic, but you know, whatever. It's kind of weird because the 3DS has a lot of cool features, and I'm not going to be able to fully cover everything, but 3DS essentially has it separated by game, and you can choose a game no matter which one. I'm trying to pick a game that I've actually owned right now. See, 3D Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't own this, but I'm just going to click it for the fuck of it. Just so you have a general idea of what it looks like. And see, that's the community itself. And you pretty much get all these different types of posts from different people. These cool pictures. You can, like, the pictures. And you can access you can access Miiverse like on your computer and smartphone. Well, I think you can. I know you can access it on your computer. I don't know if the smartphone app is out yet, and on the Wii U, obviously. But as I said, you can kind of look up the features. I mean, Street Pass is fucking amazing too. And what Street Pass is essentially is, depending on the game, each game has their own different types of Street Pass functionality. But all you have to do is put your 3DS in like sleep mode, which is essentially just folding it shut. But while it's still turned on, and if you pass someone else who has a 3DS and has the Street Pass feature on, then you get bonuses in certain games if you two just happen to have the same game, or just in general, like you get them into your 3DS and you can play like 3DS mini games. The 3DS is, as much as you would think it's a pretty gimped, because it's handheld, you wouldn't expect too much from it. The 3DS embarrasses the shit out of the original DS in terms of the shit you can do. It is insane. It's kind of like, you know how people have the notion that, handhelds can't be real consoles? The 3DS to me is almost borderline just a secondary console, because it has so much shit you can do on it. It's kind of hard to go over everything without making this like a 20-minute video, but like, I guess if you needed the bottom line and the biggest highlights of the console, is the library of games, the connectivity with so many people, because so many people have the fucking 3DS, you can get the best out of it. Like, the 3DS is, as a handheld console, is one of those, you want to play with your friends type of consoles, or gaming handhelds. And the 3DS makes that so easy, especially with the Pokemon games, and everyone knows that most people buy handheld Nintendo consoles because they know there's a Pokemon game coming out on it. So, and that's the other thing. The thing that also works for Nintendo is the fact that they have some games that are just relegated to the handheld series. Pokemon being the biggest and the most obvious. That doesn't mean they won't put other things out on here, obviously, because they don't give a fuck. And a lot of these games are awesome. Actually, all of these fucking games are awesome. I'm not going to say Shin Megami Tensei 4 because I haven't gotten that far and it's kicking the shit out of me right now. But the best way to describe it is like, if you don't own a 3DS, what are you doing? Especially with all these ridiculous special editions coming out. Half of these fucking deals. You can get the Dream, like the Mario RPG series, which is more relegated to the consoles anyway, or the handhelds, I mean. I think Dream Team, they have bundles for like every fucking game. Every like Nintendo, big Nintendo game now. It's ridiculous. Then if you don't give a shit about the 3D, because the 3D is not something that you inherently need for most of the games, it enhances it for a few. Like Fire Emblem, yes. Pokemon, yeah. Kid Icarus, yeah. But like, it's not for every game. And if you don't need that, I get the 2DS. But if you're like but if you really want, or either that, just don't turn on the 3D. That's like, to me, the XL is the best choice, because the 2DS is one of those things I feel like it was specifically made for kids, even though Nintendo has already blatantly told us this. So if you were going to get a 3DS console, I say get the XL, just because of the bigger screens, which is the only difference between them. Plus, I just like the feel and design of it better than the original 3DS. But if you're cheap and you want to just get the cheapest one, I say the 2DS. Or if you want the cheapest of the 3DS looking consoles, the original 3DS. But it is not too late. I can see the 3DS. I probably will be around for like the next almost 10 years. I'm betting, just with different iterations. I mean, for those who don't realize, the DS had like 6. The original DS. The DSi, DS Lite. I think the DS Lite came first. I'm switching those around. DS Lite, DSi, DS IXL. There's a few. Like when it comes to the handheld consoles, usually the console doesn't change too much. There's just like 6 or 7 different iterations of it, and that's how I feel like it's gonna be. We're just gonna have like 6 or 5 different iterations of the 3DS. I mean, technically, we already have 2, which is the original, 3 actually. The original, the 2DS, and the XL. So, in terms of time, I think we got a while. So, I wouldn't really worry about that kind of stuff. And on top of that, you can play DS games on this fucking thing anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. If you're the kind who likes to play retro games, you're covered. So, in a nutshell, if you're curious about getting a 3DS, I'm surprised you don't own one yet. I think everybody fucking has one. There's like the most found console right now, period. Well, maybe not as much as like a handheld. Because the Vita, Sony doesn't give a fuck about the Vita. That's what hurts me more than anything. But I'm not going to go into the Vita thing. But just, you know, the Vita is probably more technologically advanced. But the 3DS actually has a lot of content to it that justifies the price. Whereas the Vita is just kind of just sitting there being pretty. I think the one game people have been talking about the most is a game that just recently came out. Even though the Vita is 2 years old, which is Tearaway. That's like the first system seller people have said on the damn Vita. That's it. That's it. Anyways, that's just my whole thing about the 3DS. You should own one. You really should. Especially if you're a fan of some of these franchises. As I said, Kid Icarus, Fire Emblem Awakening, which is G as shit. And Pokemon, that's a given. If you're not a Pokemon, if you don't already own a 3DS, I'm assuming Pokemon isn't that high on your list. If it is, you need to get a fucking 3DS, sir. Anyways, this has been the Vlogs Game for your boy Terrell. Tell me what you guys think in your comment section below. If you want to add me on 3DS, I will have my friend code in the description. And I will catch you guys later. This code is still here. Darn. Peace off.